senior manager of the company didn't really quite agree with me. I mean, my percentage of likelihood of succeeding was, 30% at least higher than his was. And I really just couldn't get him to buy into, my version that we needed to press this defense to the end. And ultimately, he said, I don't think we're going to get there. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll do a reverse contingent fee on the case. And he just held up his hand and said, if you're willing to do a reverse contingent fee on the case, I believe you. Go ahead. When the lawyers are willing to, have a little skin in the game, I think the clients feel much better about that. I mean, any arrangement you have, when the lawyer has, a financial incentive of some kind, and they can be done a number of different ways and in modest ways or big ways, I think it tends to make the clients feel good. Being a manager of a large group of lawyers, I can certainly personally attest, most lawyers are not particularly good business people, and they're particularly not good at the managing of litigation, which unfortunately really is important. So that most lawyers, for example, who are doing a book of business in a particular kind of case, if you ask them what the mix was between partner time and associate time on the body of files that they're sort of in charge of, they have no idea. But it's important to the client as to who's staffing their cases. And so, law firms, I think, are just now really developing these sort of managerial skills in dealing with these relationships, which are much broader than on a case-by-case basis.
Well,
They're across many offices and lots of lines of business, and so, unfortunately, it just requires more management. In the group that I manage, we now have lawyers working on cases that are pending in Chicago who are in Seattle because they have expertise in a particular kind of case. They don't need to be in Chicago to work on the case. They're not the people who are going to be in court. And so it actually changes the practice quite a bit. Changes the relationships inside the law firm. It brings real value to the client. So, I mean, there are positive aspects of technological change, I think.